Okay, we're going to do example 22. This is more on section 3.4 with parallel and perpendicular lines. When we're given 2 points, we should know by now that the way we find our slope is to do the y2 minus y1. So 4 minus a negative 2, and that's over 1 minus a 6. Remember, bottom to top, that's an ordered pair. Bottom to top, that's an ordered pair. And now we simplify. 4 minus a minus 2 is 4 plus 2, which is 6. And then 1 minus 6, which is a negative 5. So there's our slope there. So if I want the slope of a line parallel, I'm going to abbreviate that as M parallel, just like that. Parallel, remember, just means the same slope. So I'm going to write down same slope there. And then perpendicular, this is where it's important that we know how to find the perpendicular slope as the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal, negative, that's an opposite, right? So the opposite of a negative is a positive. And then the reciprocal of 6/5 is 5 over 6. So the perpendicular slope is positive 5 over 6. And there we go on that. Now our next example, here we have 6 and negative 1 and negative 4 and negative 10. So again, the first thing we do is find the slope using those ordered pairs. y2 minus y1, negative 10 minus a negative 1. This time you can't avoid the subtraction of integers there, so just be careful of that. And remember, it doesn't matter if you did negative 1 minus a minus 10 and the opposite on the x's as well, you're going to get the same slope. So negative 10 minus 1, negative 4 minus 6. And so what we have here is a negative 10 plus 1, which is a negative 9. And then a negative 4 and a negative 6, which is going to make it a negative 10, and a negative make a positive, so we're going to simplify this to positive 9/10. And then we'll want to go for parallel and perpendicular slopes. Parallel slopes, those are exactly the same, and perpendicular slopes are negative reciprocals. So our slope is a positive slope, so the negative reciprocal is a negative, right? Positive, its opposite is a negative. And then 9/10, we flip that over and it becomes 10 over 9. So there are parallel and perpendicular slopes. Now, I think it's very important that we also realize how to find the parallel and perpendicular slopes when we have vertical and horizontal lines. So remember that our vertical lines are ones that go up and down like this. And remember that these equations look like x equals some number. And the slope on these type of lines, recall, is undefined. So if we want a parallel line to this, it's also going to be another vertical line. So parallel, if we want parallel lines to a vertical line, they're going to have that same slope, and they're going to have another equation that equals some other a over here. Remember, your book likes an a. So this would be a1, and the perpendicular one would be some a2, as long as it's not the same. Now on our horizontal lines, a horizontal line, remember, is one that goes left to right, like the horizon. And so horizontal lines like this, they had y equals some b, and they have slopes that are equal to 0. And so what we have on those is if we want parallel lines to one of those, then parallel is another one that is going to be the same slope. So the slope will be this, and a parallel line would be some y equal to some b1. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is perpendicular. If we want perpendicular to a vertical line, guess what? It's a horizontal line. It's one of these. And if we want perpendicular to a horizontal, guess what? It's a vertical, and it's one of those. So that's a little bit about perpendicular and parallel to horizontal and vertical lines.